guys, welcome back to another episode of Wedding Weekend. For this weekend's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit on wedding venue hunting, and specifically if you're looking into a venue that is not all-inclusive. So there's pretty much two different types of venues I would consider. There's definitely an all-inclusive venue, and then there's venues that will kind of let you customize and pick and choose what you want them to offer and what you can actually bring in yourself. So we actually went and looked at a venue this past week. It was a great contender. It was actually a place that we had been to before, and we just kind of toured the grounds, and they showed us multiple places we could get married on the grounds, where the reception could be, all that fun stuff. So I actually took some video footage for you guys, and I'm going to share that with you in a few minutes before we get into the actual video. But for the talking portion of this video, I really wanted to give you guys some tips and some questions you might want to ask if you are going with a customizable venue. I know if you go with an all-inclusive venue, that's a lot of stress taken off you. Normally those types of venues offer a wedding planner as a part of the package, and you don't really have to worry as much about planning. Whereas if you go with a customizable venue, you really have to sit down with the people and decide what they're going to offer and what you're going to bring yourself, which is what I'm going to do for our wedding. I really just feel like a lot of the stuff we are more than capable of doing ourselves, and if we are, that's just going to save us a lot of money in the long run. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about in today's video. I've written down all of the tips and questions, and I guess we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you guys some clips of the venue that we looked at so you can get an idea of kind of like the theme or what we're going for as far as like the really green garden theme. This definitely is a place that would be a great contender. So let's go ahead and start. Now that you guys saw the potential venue, this is not the one that we have decided on for sure yet, but it's the only one we've looked at, and it's one that we've really taken into consideration a lot just because the location is really great for both of our families. It's not a long drive, so I hope you enjoyed seeing that footage. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the questions that we had for the venue owners and just some tips that might help you guys out if you're going through the same process that I am. I definitely feel like the first tip is one of the most important things that you can have planned going into venue hunting or when you sit down and you talk with a venue owner, and that's to have an estimated number of guests. You don't have to have, the exact number of people, but I would definitely suggest highballing the number. That way, if, more people end up coming, you don't meet your cap for the number of people that you agreed on in your contract or the number of people that you agreed on with the venue owners. So for us, we're thinking probably 150 max. But we went ahead and said 200 just to give some wiggle room. Stuff happens, stuff happens. People show up, and then there's also going to be people who RSVP that don't show up. But in the long run, I think it's definitely best to overshoot the number of people that are going to be there. That way you're not regretting it and you're not having to pay fees for extra people who showed up. Another question that is really great to ask is to map out an arrival time for your actual venue. I know if you're going with all-inclusive, sometimes those offer an all-day access. You can come at 9 in the morning until your wedding ends at 9 o'clock at night. But most venues will give you an exact time to come, and for us that was 4 hours in advance, so we could come 4 hours in advance to the wedding. Or this place does have a bed and breakfast on the grounds, and they said if we did choose to stay at the bed and breakfast, then obviously we could have the entire day to get ready there. So that was definitely something that was really important for us to ask, just so we could know when we could actually go there, start getting ready, or if we would need to get ready before we started heading over there. I definitely feel like that is something that you'll want to hone in on, so you can get, I guess, an estimated time for when your photographers will want to arrive, videographers, things like that. It's just basically the start of your day. This was something I had not even thought about, and the woman who owns the venue actually brought this to our attention. She said that a lot of the times, since they do allow people to bring in their own decorations and things of that nature, she said a lot of the times people will make their own archways, or they'll just have, you know, more extravagant decorations or centerpiece decorations that they need to store. She actually said that she would allow us to store actual decorations on the grounds. I think it was like a month in advance. So that was something that was really interesting, and I wasn't expecting that. So if you are the type of person that doesn't have a lot of storage and you're making your own decorations and you're going out and buying decorations and the venue isn't offering them and you don't have a place to store it, it may be a good thing to check with them and see if they will allow you to store it there. I know she said, I mean, some people just bring in decorations a few days before and store them so that they aren't lugging them over the day of the wedding. But that was something I thought was really interesting, and I actually didn't even think about myself. I don't know if that's common, if people do that, if that's something that venues normally offer, but it's definitely something to look into if you do feel like you're going to have to be carrying over a lot of decorations. I think this is pretty standard with most venues, but it's definitely something that could be overlooked, and that's to make sure that the grounds or the venue space has a designated area for the groomsmen and a designated area for the bridesmaids, so you aren't clashing, and so the groom and the bride aren't actually seeing themselves on the day of the wedding. I know that's totally standard. Most people would look into that, but that is something that could be overlooked. Especially if you're going with a venue that doesn't have like a bed and breakfast like the one we were looking into. If it's just like an outdoor venue or something that may just have like a barn for you to get married in, it's really important to kind of figure out if you are going to be getting ready there or, you know, somewhere else. You basically don't want to have the clash of you potentially seeing your groom or your groom seeing you on your wedding day. So totally basic, I know, but just wanted to bring it up. So I went ahead and included this in the tips and questions you can ask your vendor. Definitely make sure that if you are having an outdoor wedding and the space you go with does have a backup plan, or at least they offer tents possibly that you could use on the day of if it does rain. I know some venues will offer that, or they'll contract with a equipment company for that. But a lot of people asked what we were going to do in case it rained. I'm definitely hoping that any venue we go with is going to have a sheltered area because I'm trying to avoid tents at all costs. I know they can be done in a very tasteful way, and I've seen how pretty they are and how people can make them look great. I just feel like, again, it's not something I want to risk and it just turn out looking like a plain white tent and people are just out there chilling like it's a circus tent. You guys get what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys saw in the clip this place that we looked at. It does have a really nice sheltered area that could be used as the backup area in case it does rain. So yeah, that's definitely something to make sure is that you have a number 2 option in case the weather is terrible. Another really big tip in planning with a customizable venue is to really go in to the meeting with the venue owner with a list of things that you are going to need specifically from them, and then you let them know what you are going to bring specifically as well. That's just because it can end up being very confusing with a customizable venue if you know you don't make it very clear what you're bringing and what they need to provide, because you could show up on the day of the wedding and they might understand that you were bringing tables and you weren't, and then you're left with no tables. So that's kind of the risk of playing the customizable game. You definitely need to double check and constantly make sure that there's an understanding of what each person is bringing and providing, which I'm sure that's all going to be written out in your contract with the vendor anyways, but just double check, make sure everyone's on the right page with that. Also, speaking of that, most venues will offer upgraded packages or upgraded tables, chairs, centerpieces, things of that nature. And so you definitely need to be aware of upgrades. I know that, again, that's something that can get misconstrued in the talk or the initial discussion, and you might think that silverware is included in your contract, but it actually wasn't. So definitely make sure that if you are going with upgrades or an upgraded package, that you understand that that's an added fee and that's not going to be a part of the actual package price. And another tip that I have for you guys that I actually put next is to just specifically ask the venue owner to list out the upgrades and the prices for you, whether that's send you an email with the upgrades you're looking into, or if they just want to handwrite them out. The person we talked to, she sent us an email with all the upgrades we were looking into, and she just gave us a price list. And so that's something you could definitely request, because I know your brain is like jumbled when you're talking about all these different things that you're going to have to do for the day of, and all the things that you're going to have to bring in or they're going to have to do. And so just knowing the actual prices of the upgrades and what you can afford is something that you can ask for in advance. Just ask them to list out what you're wanting as far as upgrades go, and I'm sure the people can do that for you, and that will really help you decide on what you really need or what you could hold off on. This is a problem I actually ran into with a venue we were going to go see. It was a little bit outside of Nashville, so the drive was quite a bit further, and we actually did not even end up going to see this venue because of one main reason. In there, I had requested a package price and details on their packages, and they were very reasonably priced. They had a really beautiful venue, but in fine print on their package list, they had excluded 2 of the grounds that you could get married at, or 2 of the areas you could get married at on the actual grounds. One of them was the area that I wanted to get married at. So definitely make sure that if you are going with a venue that has multiple places on the grounds, that they are all going to be available for you to pick from, because this place was not, that we looked into. They basically said I think there were 6 options of places you could get married on the grounds, and there were 3 excluded from the package that we were looking into. And so that was definitely a letdown, but after we saw that, we were like, you know what, if they don't allow you to be married there, then that's not something we want to look into. So yeah, definitely make sure that the area you want on the grounds is available. Something that the venue owner of this last place we went to also brought to our attention is they had a small kind of garden area that we were really interested in, and she said that if it did rain even a couple days before the wedding, that area would probably be a little bit muddy and she would just have to close it off. She wouldn't want people over there. So again, there can be restrictions on the grounds and where you can and can't have the ceremony. I think most wedding venues will offer the option of take down and clean up, but it's obviously going to be an added price, I'm sure, if it's not already included in your package. So you definitely need to make sure if the venue is not going to take care of the cleanup and take down, you have to delegate those responsibilities to someone else. I know that sucks, honestly, I would just much prefer the people of the venue take stuff down. But that's something that's really important too, that you need to find out, is if they offer that, because there's some that don't. They're like, you've got to take it, and then there's some that say, hey, we'd be happy to take it down for an added price. Another really good question you can ask the wedding coordinator or venue owner is to send you actual floor plans of what your reception area is going to look like and your ceremony area. This hopefully is something that they could provide, or at least sketch out for you. The people we went to, they had actual computerized digital floor plans to show us and give us a better idea of how we could accommodate 150 to 200 people. And that really helped us visualize where tables could go, what would look the best here, what would look the best there. And yeah, that was definitely something that I would highly suggest asking if they could provide, because just giving you that visual of what it could look like is really going to help you just see if it's going to accommodate everyone and if it's a look that you're going to be interested in. Last tip is probably pretty obvious, but I just wanted to go ahead and mention it. Take photos and videos when you are going to these different venues, especially if you have multiple appointments to look at multiple places. Take your camera, obviously you're going to have your phone, and just take some, not just pictures, take video, so you can go back and see that live footage of what it looked like and kind of the vibe that was going on in that area. I actually took more video than I did photos, because I felt like it would just help me, just give me a better visual when I was going back and trying to decide on an actual venue. So definitely take photo and video. It will help you in the long run. Unless you know immediately like that's the place you want. Alright guys, so those were all of the tips and questions I wrote down. I tried not to get too nitty gritty. I didn't want to obviously tell you basic things that you guys would probably have an idea or understanding of. Really, I just wrote down things that were just brought to my attention and things that kind of surprised me and really helped me when I went to look at this last venue. So if you have any more questions for me, or if you feel like I left something out, definitely leave it in the comment section down below. Again, you guys have awesome advice for me, so continue to keep leaving your advice and I will continue to read it, because I'm not above taking wedding advice. I need all the help I can get. And yeah, this is going to wrap up this weekend's wedding weekend video. Not exactly sure what I've got stored for the next one, but we'll just go ahead and see when that comes around. Hopefully I will have a new interesting topic to touch on. I'm actually going to try on another dress tomorrow. It's at the first place we went to. They have a pro-novice gown that is kind of similar into the one that I'm looking into but cannot get my hands on. So we will see how that fitting goes. And yeah, I'm super excited to get the series rolling, and I hope you guys have been enjoying them. Definitely let me know your feedback, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.